Welcome to Get Organized at Work. I'm your host, Kayla Fahey-Ahrndt, healthcare leader, mom of three, and your go-to guide for ditching the chaos and taking control of your workday. This is the show where we turn overwhelming to-do lists into clear, actionable plans so you can crush your goals and show up as your best self at work and in your life. Whether you're here for strategies to stay ahead or systems to simplify your workday, you're in the right place. Let's get organized, have some fun, and make this year your best year in your career yet. Let's dive in. Hey, welcome to Get Organized at Work podcast. I'm Kayla, I'm your host, and today we're going to be talking about how to get promoted by demonstrating your value. So I'm excited you're here because today I'm going to teach you how to position yourself for a promotion by consistently showcasing your value and the impact that you bring to the organization and the people you serve in your work. So this is going to be a really fun topic today. Before we jump in, I wanted to mention that later in the episode, I'm going to be talking about a template that I use to document my value and my impact. And I'm going to be sharing it with our community members for free inside our free community. So if you want that template, go ahead and check out the link below if you're on YouTube or in the show notes if you're listening on the podcast apps. And get into my free Get Organized at Work podcast community. It's just a way for us to continue the conversation after the episode ends so that we can continue to grow and learn in there from people from all across different professions. But we have the same goal to get organized, to have career growth and advancement, to learn project management skills, productivity skills, leadership skills, all the things. So I hope to see you inside the community. Also, we are planning our next live webinar that is exclusive to members. Right now, creating a file/time management system for to-dos and projects is winning. If you want to contribute and vote on the next webinar topic, hop into the group so you can post your vote up there. All right, so let's get down to the episode. So why are promotions important? Like, why does this matter? For me, here's how I think about it. Promotions aren't just about climbing the ladder because you're supposed to. It's an intentional move that you want to make to get one of three things, right? You want more money. Maybe you want more responsibility or accountability. Maybe you want more or new skills. Those are sort of my top three buckets. Maybe you want all three. Promotions aren't just about the amount of experience you have or you automatically get one with the amount of years you've served. It's about your impact, your leadership, and the visibility you have within the organization. Now, in your mind, if you think about promotions, people usually think about next step up, right? Going up. But like I said, promotions could be growing new skills. So I also think about it as maybe a lateral move where you can learn cross-cutting skills that take you across professions, can help you move from side to side within an organization or to a new organization. So however you like to think about it, that's totally fine. If you're listening to this podcast, I'm sure that you are interested in career growth and advancement, but I also want you to know that there are some people in your organization that are totally cool with punching in and out and doing a good job at the work that they do within the hours they're paid to do it. And that's good enough for them, and they're not seeking a promotion. Promotion can also be something that you seek in a certain season of life. Right? Like I've gone through those seasons where I have more time, energy, motivation, and it's the right time. And I have the ability to focus on my work a little bit more. And then times where I take a step back and I do what I'm expected to do. And in a way that feels good to me when I have other things going on in my life. So just know that if you're a leader, that these tips can work for people who are interested in growth and promotions, but they're also not something to force on people who maybe aren't ready for that step. And know too that if you find yourself in a season where you're just not ready for a promotion or you're not seeking, more money or more skills or whatnot, that's okay. That is okay. It comes and it goes and life ebbs and it flows. So let's get down to the different steps. I have 4 steps that are going to help you position yourself for a promotion by consistently showcasing your impact and your value. And the first step is understand what your organization values. Every company or leader that you work for has different ideas of what success looks like, different success metrics. And every company has different values, and every leader has different values. So you need to be sure you identify what matters most. And I will say, if you start doing this exercise and your values don't align with the organization's values, then it might be hard to get a promotion because you're not working toward the same things. So in that case, that's a good learning and might put a bug in your mind like, maybe I need to work for a different organization that aligns better with what I'm aiming to do. And that is a good lesson to learn. And it doesn't mean you failed. It just means like, oh, I have identified something different and I need to keep my mind open to it. So in order to identify what matters most to people, the company, the leader, you want to observe what the leadership team praises and rewards. Now, many of you might be really good individual contributors and check off your boxes awesomely. You're a to-do list master. But over time, you notice that it's not really people that are doing the most that get promoted. For example, this might show that the organization actually values people who are visionaries and strategic and maybe has other people doing the work and they are leading the charge. That is something good to learn so that you're not over here like, oh, I am just a slave to my work and not being promoted. And that's because that's not what the organization values. And I will just say too, in a lot of leadership positions, they don't usually value people who are stuck in the weeds, churning those things out in terms of promotions, because what would they do? If that person was promoted, they would miss out on all that work, as well as it would also mean that that person who's just really good taskmaster might not have the skills to lead in a higher way or see bigger picture or lead strategically. So there's a fine balance to those things. We need people who are amazing individual contributors. We need people who can check off the to-dos. We also need visionaries and high-level thinkers. And maybe a good way to position to be, I would say, is maybe like somewhere in the middle. So that's just one example. Observe who they're promoting, why they're promoting, what leadership praises, and the rewards that are given. You want to read the strategic goals, the company's mission statements, and performance criteria. So, for example, at the organization I work, there's 5 different goal areas. They call them performance dimensions. When I'm thinking about a promotion for myself or my team members, I want to make sure that almost everything that I do is aligned with those 5 goals or in the spirit of those 5 goals. And if it's not, then I question whether or not I should be doing it or if it's necessary. So you want to make sure that your work translate into, I am helping the company meet their strategic vision, performance criteria, and goals. You also want to have conversations with your manager about priorities. This goes along with the point I just talked about. If you're questioning if something aligns with those goals, talk to your leader about it. Hey, does this make sense? Is the timing right on this? Is the political landscape correct on this or a good time on this? Is this work aligned with what you know about the executive leadership team's priorities? They might have to give you that brutal answer like, you know what, this is really cool work, but it's really not the right time, or it's not really aligned. Or they might say, yes, absolutely, double down on that. How can I support you better? These are really good conversations to have early and often. Maybe even at your one-on-ones, you could strategically bring up your goals every month or every quarter to make sure that you are right on target and there are no surprises at performance review time. And then you want to align your work with these drivers, with the company or leader's success metrics or values, with the type of leadership work that's praised and rewarded, with the company's goals, and then align that work with conversations with your leader or your manager. All right, that's step 1. On to step 2, show up as a leader before you have the title. Leadership is demonstrated through doing, it's through action. It has nothing to do with the title. And something really cool that's going on in my organization is we just keep talking about this idea of leveling up. And how can we be next level? Like, what would it take for us to all elevate ourselves for our own benefit, right? Like to be the best version of ourselves that we can, but also, of course, to benefit our patients, our organization. How can we do better in this world? How do we level up? And one of the ways is to be a leader, whether it's informal or formal, before you have the title. So here's ways to show leadership. You can proactively solve problems instead of just reporting them. The average person brings issues to the leader. If you're in a leadership position, you know that a good portion of your day is people just like telling you about what's not working. And you often just think like, I wish someone would come to me with some solutions, because as the leader, you are not always in the best poised position to have the answers, right? You want to work with your team to solve problems. So one way that you can show that you are a leader before you have the title is to go to your teammates and source some good ideas, sort of do a little focus group, check in with the ideas that you have, and go to your leader and say, here's an issue. And then here's how we work together to solve it. Or here's an issue and here's some of our solutions that we have. What do you think? Do you think if we ran with these, that would be aligned with what the organization thinks would be the right thing to do? Have those conversations. Support and mentor your peers so you help other people succeed. It's amazing when other team members are willing to not just help themselves do well at work, but help each other. We have better engagement scores in our departments. People stay longer, so retention is better when you have a culture of people that want each other to succeed. It's not like one for one, it's like one for all. And so if you have a skill, what you would want to do is tune into that and use that for good. Show that you are a leader by helping grow and develop others, because that is a huge part of a leadership position, or probably a position that you want to be promoted into. So for example, if you are a really good teacher, then maybe make yourself the expert in training or working with students. Take that skill and hone in on it. And plus, it makes your work more fun when you get to do something that's in your strength. So consider thinking about what is your strength and how can you use that to help other people. And then communicate effectively. Be clear, be concise, be solution focused in meetings. I will tell you, one of the coolest things for me as a leader is when I see that somebody comes to a meeting, a one-on-one, highly prepared. Like, it's not that they just have good ideas and they spout them off. It's that I can tell that they've researched, thought about something, written it down, and they are ready to speak and share. And that is one of the best leadership skills that you can have, is like taking information, processing it, and turning it into a manageable, bite-sized amount of information. Some of us are really good at this. Some of us have to work harder at it, right? So think about, how can I be extremely clear, concise, and solution-focused in meetings? How can I prepare in advance so that my message comes off with ease, it's smooth, and everybody can understand it? That is a huge, amazing skill. And then I just wanted to share a real world example for you. The idea of showing up as a leader before you have the title. I see this so much when somebody takes on a project and then does a wonderful job in that project and then later gets promoted. One example I will share, and I don't know if it's really like an upward promotion, but it's definitely a lateral one, something somebody wanted. So I had a peer that I worked closely with on a project, and it was actually a project that was like hybrid operations, hybrid IT. And this person dove into being a wonderful liaison and connector between operations and IT. I knew that they wanted IT skills. And so after that project, they took those skills to the next level. And when the next opportunity was available, they reached out and said, I would really love this IT position. And they ended up getting it. And the cool thing about that is, just a few years before that, that person hadn't had the amount of experience that they had after this project, but they were interested in learning and growing, and they stuck with it. They learned, they showed up, and they really showed off to this team like, I want this. I'm ready. I am interested in growing and learning and translating skills from one field into the next. So anything is possible when you remain focused on your goals, when you remain intentional, and you really lean in to doing the work before you even have that title. This person was doing that work before they were even involved with IT. So I just think that's a really cool idea and example that I wanted to share with you. All right, step 3 is quantify and communicate your impact. This is where I wanted to show you share with you the file that is in our free community that you can download in the free download section or the free resources section. So it is so important to track your wins or the things that go well that you do. And I just was thinking about this the other day because I was participating in some interviews and I got to look at some resumes and I was like, oh my God, I need to update my resume. Not to look for another role, right? Like that's not what I'm saying, but like, whoa, some of these resumes were kick butt. And I realized that I need to make my ROIs or my return on investments or my value a lot more concise and clear and pointed on my resume for the next time I need to use it or share it. I think it would be just so much better. So the way that you can do this is to keep track of your accomplishments and metrics and positive feedback in real time. And this is something that I started doing a while back because it helps during performance reviews. It helps for those resume updates when you need to do them quickly. And this is to keep a file or a brag file of the accomplishments, metrics, and your positive feedback. You can be super specific. Use numbers, like if you saved dollars, put that in there. If you prevented employee turnover or increased employee retention, put that in there. Things like that make a huge difference. Or I trained this many people. I validated this many instruments. I had improved patient outcomes by this. I reduced X amount of fraud, whatever it is that you're doing. Put those hard numbers in there. Include timelines, like when did I do this? How long did it take me? And of course, with those numbers, you want to be really clear about what the results were. So I will share this document with you. I'm not looking at it right now, but from memory, it has like the project or the item, who you worked with on it. It has even an area to say, okay, this project or item aligns with this company's goal or mission, right? So if you're looking for an internal promotion, you can say like, it's directly related to this company goal. And I had this outcome and result in this amount of time with this specific group. So it has like all of those fields to be able to help you demonstrate your value and just keep track in real time. If you've ever gone back to update a resume or to like write your own performance review, self-reflection, you know how hard it is to like remember what you did at the beginning of the year or last year, even though it was like a big, huge moment in your life at that time. For some reason, high achievers are really good at just being like, okay, done, next. And we totally just forget about things. So using this document to track is going to be so helpful. And I want you to showcase your impact in regular one-on-one meetings with your leader. Whenever you accomplish something, put it in there. Whenever you get positive feedback, put it in there. You can just have this document ready and share it with your leader. I know that some people are going to say, oh, that's super uncomfortable. Well, if you want a promotion, you got to start showcasing your impact. And guess what? It looks really good if your leader is seeing that you are getting impact positive feedback because that impacts them. If you are doing well, they're doing well. So you might as well share if they're not aware of it. You can even say something like, hey, I was really excited. I got this awesome feedback from this person. I just wanted to share it with you, and just keep it simple like that. And they can react to it however they want to. And usually it's going to be like, wow, that is amazing. The other way I want you to showcase your impact is through emails that recap successful projects. So I want you to save any project wrap-up meeting notes, anything where projects get summarized, the deliverables are summarized. If you send a message out to leaders and you get a reply from an important leader, medical director, someone like that, and they give you kudos, throw those in a file in your inbox, save them. If you're worried about them getting dumped, screenshot them and put a screenshot into this file. That's what I did. I have screenshotted messages from my VP, from medical directors, from executive leaders so that later I can go back and remember what they said and I can share it with them. If I'm like, hey, I was wondering if you would be my reference. I just wanted to remind you, here's what you said about this project in the past. And then I just wanted to share that to jog your memory. Is there, a possibility that you might be a reference for me in the future? Or if you want to ask for help, looking for these promotions or these different resources or positions, it's great to have that email at your fingertips. The third way that I want you to showcase your impact is in your performance reviews. Come prepared with data. And if you have any say in creating your performance review goals, make sure they're attainable and that at the end of the day, like you brag about the work that you did. We spend all year on these goals that we set. You might as well showcase the heck out of everything you did. If you just write like met the goal, your leader is going to have a really hard time writing their review because that is not like a fun review to write if you've given them no self-reflection on how you did. So take the extra time, think about how you did on that project, what the wins were for you, how you might have done it differently, what you've learned, and how you've grown. And you're going to have an amazing review because self-reflection shows self-awareness and that you are working on growing and being better. And that is going to be one of the best things to give your leader when they go to do your review. So here's an example of how you can write a line on your resume or in the document or even like a summary on a review. You can say, transforming an idea for maybe something that you transformed could be, I improved efficiency or I streamlined X process, reducing turnaround time by 30%. So it can be as easy as that. And then you would go into sort of bullet points of like what you actually did to accomplish that. Or that can just be sort of a prompt to remember like, okay, yeah, I improved this efficiency by XYZ. And then that will jog your memory for what it is you want to discuss with your leader. All right. Step 4, last step, is be proactive about your career conversations. This is something that I see often is people don't bring up career growth. They sort of just wait for me to bring it up. And so I would just advise you, don't wait for your boss to bring up career growth. Initiate that conversation. Show them that you're interested. I told you, there's nothing I love better than somebody coming wholly prepared to a meeting. It just shows me that it's important to them. And to me, if someone says, hey, I'm kind of interested in talking about my growth or my career development or professional development, can we talk about that? I'm like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. Like that person already has a leg up. So if you're not already talking like that with your boss, I think it's just time because it'll make you stand out from others. You want to ask for feedback on what you need to work on for the next level. And I know that can be scary, but it's like, you probably know what you need to do to get next level or know what skills you're lacking. And your leader can help you not just work on the skills that you're lacking or need improvements on, they can help you build on top of your strengths. So your leader is going to be able to help you kind of in all angles with that next level role by helping you strengthen just all areas. You want to express your career goals clearly. You can say something like, I'm interested in moving into X role. What skills or experiences should I focus on to be ready? Maybe you don't know what that next goal is, but you might know, well, I'd like to learn what it might be like to be you for the day, boss. Or, hey, I'm sort of afraid of this role because it looks kind of scary from the outside, but I've been kind of curious about it. What could I do to learn more about it? Or could I sit on some of your meetings with you? Would you mind showing me around? Or you can ask them like, hey, do you know anyone that does XYZ? That's kind of what I'm interested in learning on next. Could you help connect me with those people? Your boss, if they are a people leader and love it, which hopefully they are, and chances are they are if they're in some sort of people leadership role, they will be excited for you. They'll be like, I cannot wait to connect you. I'm a connector. That is my job. So don't be afraid to have those conversations. It doesn't put a target on your back. It really doesn't. It makes you somebody who we want to keep even more and make even more happy when you're a high performer and you're interested in growth. So It's very important that after you get this feedback that you show you're taking action on that feedback given. So it's very important that you sort of follow up and close the loop on those proactive career conversations. And it's fine to say like, hey boss, thanks for the tips. I don't know if I'm ready for that right now, but let me simmer on it. Let me think about it. And that's a great place to start. And then you might come back to your leader and say, okay, there's this area that I'm interested on focusing on next. How can I break that into bite-sized pieces so it feels manageable and not overwhelming? How can we maybe spread that over the year? All right, so the last couple things I wanted to talk about is there's some barriers. There's some pretty common barriers that people have for, showcasing their value and talking about their skills and seeking promotions. So I just wanted to call those out so I can help you overcome them. Number one is fear of self-promotion. People have a hard time talking about themselves mostly. So I want you to reframe this as just sharing your contributions. You're not bragging. It's speaking fact. If you did XYZ, you did XYZ. You're not bragging. It's a thing that you did. It's just the facts. A second common fear is feeling like you're not ready. And here's the thing is that growth comes from taking on challenges before you feel 100% prepared. So if you don't feel ready, you're a little bit nervous, but you're excited, it probably means you're ready for growth. So start before you're ready, and then you'll be ready when the time comes. And then the third one is lack of clear promotion pathways. I hear this a lot, like, oh, there's no career ladder built, or there's no clear next step. And I think that you can define that for yourself by seeking out stretch assignments, job shadowing, going to meetings of your boss, kind of being shown around, and doing some external leadership training. Once you find an area that you like, it's a lot easier to go to your boss and say, well, this is the area that I'm interested in honing in. Can you point me to some directions? And they can help you out. I will say, I think that it is your responsibility to be accountable or at least advocate for your career progression, because I'm sorry, but nobody else is going to be doing that solely besides your leader. They're going to think about it. But if they don't see you taking on that initiative, they're going to assume that it's not something you're interested in. They might even ask you the question. And if you're not prepared to answer it, or you don't come back to them after thinking about it, they might not ask again. So take accountability for your own learning and growth, and seek out extra or different things that you can learn from to help point the way for you. So just to recap, these are the 4 key steps. You want to understand what your organization values. You want to show leadership before you have the title. You want to quantify and communicate your impact, and you want to be proactive about your career conversations. I want to challenge you for this week to identify one action step to take to define, communicate, or document the value and the impact that you bring in your leadership, and consider why you'd be a great person for promotion. Think about how you can start building up that documentation of the value you bring and how you might start to share that with your leader, and think about what is your next step for leveling up? What's your next step for career advancement? Thank you so much for listening. I appreciate you being here. And if you want that free download, that's going to help you document your reasons for promotion and everything that you're doing wonderfully to get you there and show your value, hop into our free community. The links will be in the description below or in the show notes. I cannot believe that we are in March and this is our first episode for March. This is really exciting, and thank you for being here on my podcast journey. All right, I will see you in the next episode. Bye.